Wow, you guys really liked that last video. I kinda thought it might be one of those things that was a cool novelty, but really wouldn't go very far. At least, not as far as it did, but y'all proved me wrong. I guess this idea really was one that piqued the interest of others besides myself, and so I'm happy to bring you its second part. In the previous video, for those who need a quick reminder, Naruto simply did not care. What he experienced, what others did, none of it mattered. All that mattered was that Naruto wanted to live a life that was comfortable to him. Through his apathy, he managed to excel and draw the attention of others, such as Danzo Shimura, who was quick to bring him into the Anbu, saying his mentality was perfect for the job. And as for the likes of Sasuke and Sakura, due to Naruto not being present, nobody could stop Sasuke, and Sakura, through her refusal to give up, was killed by Kimimaro. Kakashi is left alone, and now Naruto has a new teammate in a shinobi named Sai, a young man who doesn't understand emotions. Through training together, they really begin to understand each other, yet the question crops up of if Naruto is forced to do it, can he kill Sasuke? He answers that he can, unaware that Danzo is currently cooking up a plan to do exactly that. Welcome to the Amagi. Only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you are subscribed. And with that out of the way, let's get into the video. It had been 2 years since Naruto had joined the Anbu as Danzo's right-hand man. It was amazing how the words of one man could easily turn the most hated person in the village into its hero. All it took was a little social manipulation. All men were sheep, and those who dared to be a shepherd were unquestioned. Was it deceitful? Well, that was up to you to decide. Naruto felt he deserved a little praise, considering that he was the unwilling cage for a demon that the village needed to be rid of. Everyone hated Alcatraz's existence, but nobody dared question what life would be like without it. And now, being Danzo's most staunch and loyal supporter, Naruto was finally living the life of his dreams. Anything and everything was at his disposal. He had a new luxury apartment, a paycheck with so many zeros it looped around to the back end of the paper, food, drink, women, anything his heart was set on, and he had it in surplus. This was the life Naruto had craved for quite some time, and now that it was his, he could finally say he actually cared about something. He was happy. He wished for it to remain this way. Danzo may have been a wicked man, but damned if he didn't treat those closest to him well. Naruto was that one exception, as Sai wasn't really treated the same. But the reason was simple. Not only was Naruto a figurehead, but was also his greatest weapon. That was one of the stipulations. Naruto had to stay healthy. He had to stay strong. He had to practice his skills night and day. And so when he wasn't working, he was training, working his muscles, chakra control, and skills. It wasn't enough just to be strong and have the ability to control one's chakra. He had to perfect every movement until his fighting styles became second nature. Until everything was second nature. And despite everything, Naruto was a hard worker. Work hard, play hard. That was the philosophy Naruto adopted here, and it made him pleased. As Naruto continued to train, he began to increase his knowledge of ninjutsu through the various scrolls that the Anbu possessed. Due to their role as an intelligence agency, they possessed many techniques, most of which were stolen or logged by others. This was in the name of preservation, they claimed, saying that ninjutsu was more than a weapon, it was an art form. But in reality, this was just the conglomeration of information, and as the Anbu knew well, and Root knew too, information was power. And so, through this ability to learn such techniques, Naruto began to develop his ninjutsu repertoire. Where his physical skills would fail, Naruto would supplement with ninjutsu. This was his toolbox, and he craved to have a special technique for every occasion. Quickly mastering the other nature transformations, he came to realize that his affinity was actually the rare yet powerful wind release. This was a bit of a connection that he had with Danzo, as Danzo himself was a wind release user. Through this connection, Danzo told Naruto how much of himself he saw in the boy. "You're fiery, hungry. Your desires may be different from mine, but just like me, you'll chase those things you hold value in relentlessly, and will not be denied. I cannot help but be proud of you." Naruto would smile, pleased. Through pride and the stroking of ego, the rewarding of loyalty, and the companionship of a man slowly turning into a father figure, Naruto was ready to do anything this man asked, be it assassination, theft, sabotage, or framings. If Naruto was asked to do something, Naruto would do it. All that really mattered here was himself. That was the sad truth of the shinobi world. You couldn't truly control what others did, and the best you could do was manipulate them to possibly choose the most advantageous outcome. War was a staple in their way of life, and there were no shinobi without fighting. That was something Naruto came to learn quickly under Danzo. Humanity was a boisterous and edgy race, and war and distrust were their ways. To completely end all wars was to chase an endless road that no man alone could achieve. It was easier to instead manufacture wars and control the flow of information. In that way, they could script war. They could script development and the will of man, and through that script, they could control. War was a concept just as real as fear, and just as emotional, and man couldn't be trusted to make their own decisions. When the majority ruled, the majority tended to vote for the way that their emotions led them. It was better for the people to have the illusion of freedom, all while conditioned to believe that what was right was what was suggested to them. Either by subliminal messaging or by continual declarations of invalid truths, people were told what to believe, and in their infinite wisdom, they always chose what they were told. The illusion of liberty. So long as freedom existed and was ruled by the majority was being manipulated to believe that way. Danzo understood that, and his explanation of these things to Naruto made more sense than Naruto liked to admit. Then came the overwhelming truth of what Danzo would say. "Even you are manipulated," he told him at a dinner. "Not malevolently, but in truth, you follow my every word only because I give you lavish gifts and a life that you desire. I give you the one thing you desire, and that is to have a place you belong. And is that truly wrong? You still have the freedom to choose against me, but if you did so, these things you enjoy would disappear." This is only one of many ways that the world's secret political system works. I give you gifts, and in exchange, you give me loyalty. Our symbiotic bond is proof that my way works. "Yeah, it is. Though I must admit, when you speak like this, it makes it sound overly controlling," Naruto said. Danzo nodded. "Indeed, and that's the lesson of what I'm telling you. All men are slaves to something, even I. And that knowledge is uncomfortable to us. We would prefer to look instead at how we're free, and that's why deception is key. To never let anyone look at their lifestyle and say that they're bound to something. For you, you're a slave to your own pleasures. All of the Rio in your bank account, because that gives you a comfortable apartment. It gives you everything your heart could desire. And because of that, things you normally wouldn't agree to, you now find yourself agreeing to. The same was true of me. Compromise is the currency of this world, and how to get someone to compromise is as important as knowing the information surrounding them. Information is only a valuable tool when it's known how to use it. That's the important thing I'm attempting to teach you, my protege. Not to take away your happiness, but to enhance it, and to show you the hidden truth nobody knows because they don't want to know. This knowledge is dangerous, and with it, one could control the whole world. All that is required is telling people what they want to hear. Do that, and they will follow you no matter where you go. Danzo's words were haunting and showed the true terror behind influence, the illusion of freedom through controlled compromise. That through threat of violence, reputation, or by offering peace and rewards, one could be forced to compromise. Everyone was weak to something, and all it took was finding that one weakness to get them to agree. For a few weeks, Naruto couldn't shake this, but Danzo's words remained with him. Those who reject this truth are those who will always follow. Those who accept this truth are those who will lead. And because of that, Naruto elected to know this truth. By accepting that he was being manipulated, he could, in essence, gain true freedom. Because, after all, what Danzo was saying to him had been made abundantly clear. Those who refuse to believe they're being manipulated are willfully remaining in the dark and lack the information required to be free. And now that Naruto knew he was being manipulated by Danzo, he was free. He could choose to give up everything he had just to defy Danzo, or he could continue to gain more and more status, funds, and pleasures by remaining in his thrall. That was the nature of the choice Danzo was expressing to Naruto. This was the true test of loyalty. That even though Naruto now knew for certain where he stood with Danzo, would he remain? He would. And that was when Danzo knew he could trust Naruto. Now that Naruto had been afforded free will, he had chosen to follow Danzo's orders of his own volition. Now, he was ready. Naruto, despite being so young, was quickly moved to the head position of Root, becoming to Danzo what Danzo once was to Hiruzen, being the Shadow Hokage. He was in charge of all the wet works that Danzo was responsible for, to use the information he had recently discovered he was being controlled by to control others, and to keep the world in check, to regulate war, and to create problems for mankind and help them solve them to keep them occupied, to keep them pliable. For when there was no virus, there was no immune system, and the body would then begin attacking itself. Naruto was the inoculation. He was the one focusing the darkest desires of the world to keep the healthy society healthy. And so, as he himself continued to grow more skilled in controlling the masses through information, his top priority was quite simple: accumulate more information. And that's where we find ourselves now. Naruto had indeed accumulated more information. And among the pieces of information he accumulated was knowledge dropped off from an unknown source that told them of the location of Orochimaru's base of operations. The information, the rumors spread in the dark, the ears that were everywhere and the eyes that saw everything relayed back to Naruto that Tenchi Bridge was to be where one of Orochimaru's traitorous assistants and a member of the Akatsuki, Sasori, would soon meet. An open invitation, supposedly unknown to Orochimaru. This meant that the location of Orochimaru's main base of operations would be near here. That's when Naruto sent his Root division out to spy on the land, to report back findings, chakra signatures, anything odd that might signal the location of the secret base. When asked what they would do next, Naruto said that they were going to crush them. They would wait until the day of the meeting, and then they would crash the facility. They would seek out Orochimaru, kill him, kill Sasori, kill the assistant, and kill Sasuke. Anyone inside that facility or in any way close to that facility would not be allowed to live. The information, the results, anything worthy of being kept would be held by the organization for review. Assassination and intelligence gathering. This was the main prerogative of Root. It was what they were born for, and now it was Naruto's biggest goal. Naruto couldn't lie that he felt like he fit this position perfectly. It brought him a twisted sense of pleasure to finally be the one in control as opposed to the one being controlled. And now he truly began to understand Danzo's point. Freedom and information were the same thing, and those who accepted information were those who accepted freedom. Those who chose ignorance were those who accepted only a false freedom that only they believed was real. And as the time came to pass, Naruto led a strike team in. He and Sai would search for Sasuke personally, as Naruto had a slight bit of a grudge against him. The others would search for Orochimaru, and likely his Sound 4 if possible. Upon entering the facility, Naruto and Sai split off and began to search for Sasuke. Finding him was not overly hard, as he did have a room number. With this information, finding his location was not difficult. Upon entering, however, they found him asleep. Naruto pulled his kunai, as did Sai. Drawing closer to Sasuke's sleeping body, Naruto prepared to stab him. At about that time though, the entire place was rocked by an explosion that caused Naruto to stumble. Sasuke, now awake, would pull his sword and attack. In defense, Naruto stepped back and pulled his tanto from behind him, gripping it tightly in hopes of offsetting the size advantage of Sasuke's sword. Sasuke looked to Sai and then back to Naruto before looking up and down at his clothes. Anbu, huh? I always figured that would be more your speed. Let's hope your training's paid off. You're dead, traitor, Naruto said. Sasuke cracked a smile for the first time in a while. See if you can't make that statement true. Sasuke began to swing his blade. It seemed that among the many things he'd studied, he had indeed studied Kenjutsu. Naruto had some training in it, but only the basics. He was at a great disadvantage. He tried to mend the difference by activating his version 1 cloak, but Sasuke wouldn't have it. He would himself transform straight into his second stage curse mark, which would give him not only a strength, but a speed boost as well. With this strength and speed, he would be able to overwhelm Naruto. Turning to Sai, he found him to be a non-issue, and with a simple flourish, he maneuvered Sai's blade out of the way and drove his own through Sai's stomach, giving a few twists to ensure that it did its job. Pulling back just in time to catch Naruto's blade, he flipped out of the way of a second strike. As Naruto drew closer for a second time, Sasuke stepped into Naruto's opening and raised his blade just as Naruto lowered his, catching him in the forearm, severing it just below the elbow. Naruto let out a cry before Sasuke put the blade into Naruto's chest. Pressing it through, he let Naruto fall before looking down at him. There was a time where I respected you, Naruto. So much so that I thought by killing you, I might gain the Mangekyo Sharingan from it. But as I watch you now at the end of my blade, I can't help but feel absolutely nothing but satisfaction. Shame. I really wanted a Mangekyo from this. Pulling the blade out, Sasuke turned and began to walk away, intent on leaving Naruto to die. Naruto, laying there, looked to Sai, who was already dead. Covering his wounds, he needed to ensure he didn't bleed out, so making it to Sasuke's bed, he grabbed the sheets from off of it and began to wrap them until the Ninetales' regenerative factor could kick in. He was so close to dying that it wasn't even funny, but he did manage to survive. The base's self-destruction was activated, and it began to collapse around him. Naruto crawled under Sasuke's bed in hopes of getting some protection from the falling rubble. By what seemed to be a miracle, the rubble collapsed in just such a way as to offer support to the bed to keep it standing, but just barely. Naruto was pinned under so much, unable to move. Due to blood loss, his consciousness was come and go, and perhaps that was for the best. Being conscious during this time would only cause him to panic, and panic was not something he could afford. Hours passed. How many was it? He didn't know. It felt like days, but it couldn't have been any more than 20. They began trying to dig up the rubble. Eventually, the Anbu would find Naruto, the only survivor. He'd be transported to a secret hospital run by Danzo. There, he would be checked over for wounds and given a transfusion of blood. Danzo would visit him. Naruto would sit at the edge of his bed, examining the stub that used to be his arm. Questions ran through his mind of how he was going to continue his work like this. "To say I'm disappointed in you is an understatement," Danzo said. "You overestimated yourself and underestimated your enemy. You fought not for the fact that Sasuke's a wanted criminal, but because you felt the urge to do so to appease your own ego. And now look at yourself. Ruined. Shame." Naruto looked back. "So what is it then? You gonna throw me away because of one mistake?" Danzo looked down upon him through his single, visible, narrow eye. "No, you're not being thrown away. For most shinobi, the loss of an arm is something that can't be overcome and means the end of a career. But for those close to me, such loss is trivial. I can and will help you recover, and it's up to you to ensure that I don't come to regret my actions." Danzo would authorize an experimental surgery to replace Naruto's severed arm with one formed of Hashirama Senju cells. Wrapped up to keep the truth of what it was a secret, Naruto was set loose. From there, he would desperately train to increase his proficiency with the cells. If anything, something good came from this, in that Naruto managed to gain access to wood release. It wasn't uncommon for those with Hashirama cells to gain access to this particular Kekkei Genkai, but it was unusual for one to gain access to it on the same level that Naruto did. Having surpassed even Yamato with it, it almost seemed like these cells were specifically designed for Naruto to use. Naruto began to study the techniques of Hashirama Senju in hopes of coming out of this even stronger than he had previously been. On top of that, he put more time and effort into his Kenjutsu training, opting to carry a full-sized katana in Daisho alongside a wakizashi that was just a bit longer than his previously carried tanto. He further tried to compartmentalize his feelings. He could not make the same mistake again. At this point, he hated Sasuke with a passion, not only for getting Sakura and many others killed, but now for wounding not only his body, but his pride. Despite that, he was attempting to think logically. True freedom was control, not only of information, but of emotions. What was important wasn't risking everything for a momentary glow, but to maintain the life he had worked so hard to achieve. Sasuke was beneath him. Should he get the chance to finish Sasuke off personally, he would gladly do so. But what mattered most right now was getting stronger, mentally, physically, and spiritually, to ensure that he did not lose control again. Through his wood release abilities, Naruto found it much easier to control the Ninetales. No longer did he need to rely upon its cooperation. He could manipulate and force it to do as he pleased. And through this, he surpassed even the version 2 cloak, attaining a chakra mode that increased his strength by quite a bit. This was a good thing, as not much longer after this did the Hidden Leaf come under attack. The emergency alert came to him directly from Danzo, telling him that the Akatsuki's leader, Pain, had just attacked the village, and that Naruto needed to mobilize his greatest strike force team to defeat this threat. Danzo told Naruto not to fail him again, because if he did, he would be removed from the head of Root and replaced with someone old enough and wise enough to handle the job. Naruto understood. So he scrambled all of the forces he could, from Anbu to Root, and set out to battle. Kakashi would join in quickly, having previously been a member of the Anbu. "What's the ground report?" Naruto asked. We count 6 combatants, each one with uncanny ninjutsu we've never faced before. I understand. Give me the direct locations of them and any more information you've gained on their abilities. Kakashi began to explain everything, from the rumors of techniques they could use to their locations. Considering the one with the most destructive potential to be the Diva Path, Naruto elected to head up that team with Kakashi. Entering his Nine Tails Chakra mode, Naruto and Kakashi rush at the Diva Path, planning to knock it off guard. Its abilities to summon chakra rods is formidable, but Naruto's capability to absorb said attacks with a wall made of wooden planks ensures that there's no permanent damage done. And as for Kakashi, with his Mangekyo Sharingan, he can see them coming and prepare to dodge. And if he can't dodge them, he can send them to the Kamui realm. Together, they test the Diva Path's defenses and continue trying to break through them. The Diva Path is already having a hard time with Naruto alone, but with Kakashi on top of that, there's no question that the Diva Path is in a disadvantageous position. Furthermore, considering that its perception is shared among all of its bodies, one mind is spread too thin, and eventually, Naruto gets the better of the Diva Path, putting it to rest once and for all. The clearing up of the other paths goes fairly well, but they're not finished yet, as one of the sensory nin in his group is able to detect a chakra signature sending signals, controlling these things. Naruto and his strike force prepare to take the final pain. They surround a tree made of paper, and on Naruto's command, they set the tree ablaze. The tree eventually burns down, showing a wounded Konan within, using what's left of her paper body to defend Nagato. But weakened as she is, she stands no true chance against Naruto and his team. Pain, being crippled, would be too weak to do anything more than what he's already done, having worn himself thin. And considering that his true body isn't as strong as his Diva Path, he is destroyed as well. Naruto would then have Root claim Nagato's body. Taking it back to their base, they would present it to Danzo. As Danzo stood above the body of Nagato, he looked down on it with wonder. Looking to Naruto, he spoke. "You have done well, Naruto. You've soundly redeemed yourself from your past failure. Your defense of the village was flawless, and your acquisition of this powerful artifact is beyond impressive." Danzo would then remove the Rinnegan from Nagato's head and place them within a bag for preservation. "These will be stored away in a secret location, so as to not fall into the wrong hands of any who would misuse them." Danzo would leave Naruto there to dispose of the body, which he did through cremation. Naruto felt a certain sense of pride wash over him. He felt as though he had more than made up for his mistakes. All the while, Sasuke had defeated Itachi. It's through this that the revelation of who was actually behind the Uchiha massacre became clear. It was none other than Danzo Shimura. And so, with the Hokage of Konoha now in his sights, Sasuke began to move again. It just so happened to be at about that time that the 5 great nations and their Kage were meeting in the Land of Iron to discuss the impending threat of the Akatsuki and how to deal with it. Tailed beasts had been gathered by the Akatsuki, and it seemed that they were about to initiate a war. And so, Danzo, as the Hokage, would head for the Land of Iron, bringing Naruto in tow along with his other guards. There, Naruto would stand silently. Danzo told him to watch how things went so he might learn something more about politics. By this time, Naruto understood that Danzo was preserving him as a legacy for himself. As the summit began, Danzo began to discuss the threat. The people in this room had the largest personalities Naruto had ever seen, and it had to be this way. As the Kage of a village, they were the personification of the village's power, and needed to be strong in every way imaginable. Despite Danzo appearing to be the weakest, he was showing a new level of strength by putting his mind on full display, showing how he would fight the Akatsuki, all while slowly, bit by bit, casting them under Koro Amatsukami to get them to react in a favorable way. But this was caught by Ao, one of the Mizukage's aides, who revealed himself to have a pilfered Byakugan and could see the way he was manipulating them. Danzo showed no surprise, only questioning how he could do this. It was then that he was forced to show his hidden arm. Danzo did not wish to abide by this. He felt as though this were a worst-case scenario. Given that he had acquired a Rinnegan, he moved Shisui's Mangekyo to a port on his arm. If he had left it in his eye socket, chances were he would not have to reveal this. That's when Naruto spoke up. "Who are you to give orders to the Hokage?" he asked. "Who are any of you? This is an alliance made of 5. An alliance needs trust." "Of course it does, but are any of you truly as trustworthy as you say? How many years has it been since we've all been at war? Half of us actually fought each other on the battlefield. What about you, Raikage? How long has it been since you tried to make off with the heiress of the Hyuga clan, our most prestigious clan? And you tried to do it twice, and we forgave and forgot. And as for the blood mist over here, your own people hate you. You're reforming? Don't make me laugh. How did you even get a hold of that Byakugan anyway? Only our Hyuga have that, and you now have an implant with it? You literally just confessed to being in possession of our property. Turning to Kankuro, he spoke. And you, puppet boy, you remember me, don't you? Remember when your village attempted to help Orochimaru kill our Kage? Tried to decimate us? I remember you, bastard. You killed my brother. And I did the world a service too. Little shit was a nutcase with an explosive tied to his chest. You were too scared to rein him in, so someone had to. Looking around at them, he spoke. None of you can dare speak of needing proof from us to develop trust. Out of all the villages here, we're the most trustworthy because you're all underhanded. And even if we did do as the Mist's dog alleges, what difference does it make? It simply means we don't trust you enough to lead us. You've all got faults and blood on your hands. Of all the things that you've mentioned here today, a genjutsu is the least of all. You still think that means you're in the running for being the leader of the allied shinobi forces, though? The Tsuchikage asked. You're damn right we do. Out of all 5 of us, only 2 of us have a tailed beast left, and only 1 of us has yet to lose one of theirs. Every single one of you had a tailed beast, and you weren't strong enough to protect it. Think we're gonna trust you to protect ours? What about Raikage? We're gonna trust him to keep track of the 9 tails when he can barely control the 8? When he lost the 2 tails? Only thing I'd trust him with is kidnapping little girls, but even then I'd feel like he'd drop the ball on that, like he did on 2 separate occasions. Case in point, you're all incompetent. Konoha has always been the world's superpower here, and always has been the most efficient, and the only reason why half of you exist anymore, especially the sand, is because we laid back on taking missions and increased our prices to give you the crumbs from our table. You may not trust our morality, which honestly is still better than yours, but trust the results. Konoha does what it takes, and we actually succeed. Our Kage doesn't have to show you his arm or any other part of his body to appease you. The honest truth is, without our forces, you're all just one big paper tiger in the eyes of 7 captured tailed beasts. Never forget that the only actual Akatsuki kills to be done by any of this group was from us. So vote for yourselves out of bias. Vote against us out of spite. But respect us, because out of all these villages, we alone could handle the 4 of your villages at the same time and supplant you while raising our own flag. And I challenge anyone here to tell me I'm wrong. At these words, the entire room fell silent. They were stunned at what they perceived to be pure and utter disrespect. But at that time, word came that Sasuke was in the building, seeking the Hokage. Kankuro recovered. Oh, would you look at that? It sounds like Konoha's incompetence is calling. Naruto looked at Kankuro. Every village has its own missing nin. At least ours are actually a threat. I'll go show you how a village really deals with an issue. You just stay up here and play with your dolls. Let me put Konoha's true might on full display. Danzo looked up at Naruto for a moment with a grave look on his face, telling him only through his gaze that Naruto just made a wager on the honor of the whole village without permission. And this better pay off, or there would be no world in which Naruto could hide from Danzo's reach. Naruto's gaze told Danzo to shut up and watch the show. Naruto made his way downstairs as the entirety of the 5 Kage watched. Standing there among the bodies of many samurai was Sasuke Uchiha, the one that captured the 3 tails from Kiri, the one that defeated the 8 tails and was only outsmarted by subversion. Naruto stood there and spoke. This rematch has been a long time in the making, Sasuke, Naruto said. I'm surprised you survived. Are you living well without that arm I took from you? Naruto smiled. I'm better now than I've ever been. I heard you killed your brother. Get what you wanted finally? Or is there some reason why you decided to show your ugly ass face here? My brother was innocent. Turns out it was your village that forced him to do what he did. Oh, the patsy bit, huh? Is that what he convinced you with? You're gullible, Sasuke, a true idiot, terminally stupid, and I'm here to dig your grave. Honestly speaking, Naruto knew that Sasuke was right. Itachi really was innocent, but the truth was the Uchiha were rising against Konoha. At this point, it was better for him to lie and simply deny the allegations, knowing that they were being watched. It was then that Sasuke awakened his Mangekyo Sharingan. Regardless, you're dead. You're not the only one who's changed, and this time, I'm not gonna stop at only your arm. Sasuke flicked the blood from his katana. Naruto proceeded to pull his katana and wakizashi out. Without another word, the 2 launched into battle. Their blades clashed. Pushing away, Sasuke cast a Materasu, but Naruto backflipped and ran horizontally to Sasuke to dodge the flames. Covering his blade in the black flames of a Materasu, Sasuke would swing his blade at Naruto, who caught them with his katana and wakizashi. To his surprise, the black flames spread to his weapons, engulfing them. Naruto jumped back and discarded the weapons before taking one of the katana of the fallen samurai. He then used the multi-shadow clone jutsu to increase his numbers and obscure the real him. The shadow clones, surrounding Sasuke with their own weapons, all came in at the same time. Sasuke could take a few of them, but with each defeated shadow clone, 2 more took its place. Losing ground, Sasuke would use his Sharingan to summon a Susanoo's body to protect himself, but Naruto, using wood release, would summon a wood golem and would use its incredible strength and power to smash Sasuke, shattering the Susanoo's ribcage and casting Sasuke to the ground. Overtaken by the shadow clones, there was nothing Sasuke could do. He was killed. As the battle came to a close, Naruto sent away his shadow clones and approached the body to ensure that he was dead. Looking up at the vantage point of the Kage, Naruto spoke. "Do you still doubt our power? That was only a fraction of what I have in the tank. I didn't even transform for this. That's the power of Konoha." Danzo stood there smiling. The other Kage returned to their meeting room, and there it was decided that Danzo would be the leader of the allied shinobi forces. Even if they couldn't trust him, they knew he was more than capable of taking care of them. In return for what he had done, Danzo decided to reward Naruto. Sasuke's Sharingan. Take it for yourself. The power of his Mangekyou would be a fitting trophy. And so, Naruto would do that. Only after he had done this, though, did the truth of his connection with Sasuke come to light, as through the mixture of not only Sasuke's chakra with Naruto's, but the mixture of his cells with Naruto's and Hashirama's, did something special happen. For weeks, there was a dull, throbbing pain in his eye, but after a month had passed, the eye had awakened into a Rinnegan as well. With the Tomoe still present in the eye, he could use all of the abilities of the Sharingan without reverting it to its base form. So now, not only Danzo, but Naruto too had a Rinnegan. But the truth was, there was one more who possessed one, and that was Obito, who had, during the 5 Kage summit, snuck into Konoha with the help of Zetsu and taken the other Rinnegan for himself. Naruto, due to his power and the belief that the Nine Tails would be what was required to overtake the Akatsuki's other tailed beasts, would end up on the front lines as the spearhead. He pushed through, and with the power of the Rinnegan being able to control life and death, the Edo Tensei were very unlucky. Naruto could simply separate their souls from their bodies and undo the technique, which gave Konoha a real advantage. But the final battle against Obito was where things heated up. The Gedo statue was there, and all that was required of him was to absorb the 8 tails and 10 tails. Obito could use the piece of the 8 tails from Sasuke to fulfill the requisite of the 8 tails. But considering that Naruto had released the spirits of the Gold and Silver brothers only earlier, there was nothing for the 9 tails save Naruto himself. That meant that Obito would need to defeat Naruto, but that was easier said than done. Both Naruto and Obito possessed the Rinnegan, and what it really came down to was Naruto and Kakashi's understanding of Kamui. With Kakashi's help, Naruto managed to put down Obito. Without Obito, the war fell apart. All of the Edo Tensei were gone, Madara included, as even he could not resist the outer path with his false Rinnegan. This left only the Zetsu army, which was soon disposed of. With peace having returned, the other tailed beasts would be taken by Danzo back to the village as spoils of war. Many of the villages would band together to take back what was theirs, but Konoha now had a monopoly on the greatest power in the world, keeping them all sealed inside of a Konoha-nin, which Naruto would be the overseer of, a special division of Root. With all the power now in the hands of Konoha, and by extension Danzo, the world would be forced to exist under Danzo's hand. And eventually, as Danzo passed away of old age, this title was passed to Naruto, who would maintain the status quo. Using all of Danzo's teachings, Naruto would remember how to control peace, free will, and how to ensure that proper release of the tension between villages through controlled wars kept dissent low and his approval ratings high. Naruto would then go on to bring a peace to the world indeed, a controlled peace, one where he decided when the next war would begin and when the last one would end. This was the shinobi world after all, and to think it could live without war was like saying a fish was designed for land. This was the nature of the world, and Naruto was merely manipulating that nature to ensure that the world remained happy. Because even when the world claimed to hate war, only when there was fighting were people truly happy. Soldiers needed a purpose, and the influx of money ensured that the rest of the world remained fed. This was the formula. It had worked for over 1,000 years, and due to Naruto's actions, he would ensure that it worked for 1,000 more. And that's the end of the story. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Naruto felt more like he took a villainous turn, but honestly, when one cares about nobody else but themselves, it's not hard for them to become evil. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this second part of What If Naruto Just Didn't Care. If you did, please let us know in the comments what you think. Remember to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to be notified when the next video drops. And be sure to check out our other videos like these ones here. I'm sure you'll love them. Until next time, peace.